Yeah, I just hope that after the lockdown is lifted, people don't get back to the similar kind of, but actually they come back feeling more uh, alert or responsible to their surroundings.
Yeah, that is another thing. I think at least if 2% of the population realizes that, it will be a big change. So
Right.
yes. So we'd like to inform we also have Hari with us. Hari is a co-partner in our initiative called Katkuni. So so I hope we come back better planned, but planning won't work anyhow because if even if you plan, a lot of things change. So possibly we start living every moment, we start feeling responsible every moment. I think that is the way to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So yeah, Faiza, you saying something, please?
Yeah. Even I was saying the same thing. Are you sensitive to?
Involved in great works in Ladakh and otherwise through your company called Field Architects. So and introduce our
Right.
audience to it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Field Architects was established in 2017. The partners are me and Suril. We both are established architects who has about 10 years of 10 to 11 years of professional experience before starting our own practice. So before we started our own practice, to understand vernacular indigenous build forms and how we can understand and then put forward the same knowledge in our designs, or how do we provide solutions for housing or build forms which you're sensitive enough to last for generations, rather than just thinking for next 5 years, 10 years, or 50 years, because the footprint you leave for a building is important. It's going to
Mhm.
stay for a long time.
Right.
So with that, we were earlier in Dehradun. We were working in near Jolly Grant Airport in a village called Bhogpur,
Right.
and then we moved to Ladakh, where we were teaching and also working as architects in Sekmol. And soon we started our first project in Ladakh and established Field Architects.
Right. So your company was established in Ladakh,
Yeah,
the Field Architects.
and now we have
Great.
projects in Ahmedabad and Ladakh. So we try to be
Right.
mobile and work in both the places.
Great. Great. So it's a long journey. Company, your first project was here, and I'm sure we will visit the site soon. And then you said you moved to Ladakh. You were associated with Sekmol. Talk about your association with Sekmol, please. I mean, what kind of architecture form did you explore there? I mean, what were the kind of projects you have
Me
done
and
there?
Sunil, when we joined Secmol, we were the course coordinators and teachers for Earth Building and Passive Solar course, which was a course for 10 Ladakhi youth, and who did not have your streamlined education system but were interested in construction. So to
Right.
make them into builders or contractors who can practice sustainable construction in Ladakh, that was our role. And side by
Mhm.
side, we were working on construction as architects on construction projects in Sekmol, which are all passive
Right.
solar, rammed earth, or earth building designs.
Right. So you talked about words like passive solar, rammed earth. So could you introduce us to these kind of techniques, and can you tell us the importance they hold and
Natural resources or materials from around it, then it is the
Mhm.
best because you leave less of carbon footprint. Plus, your building has its own uh, material or spatial quality or aesthetics which is from the place. Like in
Right.
earlier times, if you visit different places, the architecture which is there would reflect that place, right? It wouldn't be like a city architecture.
Mhm.
Right now, what happens is you have the similar kind of RCC frame structures, the same designs, just copy pasted in any kind of terrain, region, without any uh,
Right.
sense of does it suit it. Is it required? How long will it last? What is the footprint we
Mhm,
are leaving behind?
mhm.
So for as architects, sustainability is yeah, being sensitive to where you are building.
Right, being sensitive to where you're building. That's a great take from here. So when we talk about sustainability, is it limited to planning and construction of a unit, say a home or a resort, or does sustainability also involve lifestyle changes? I mean, how do you go
No,
there?
definitely. Sustainability is 360 degrees. Like it starts from your lifestyle to how you. So once a person is aware that he has to have certain control over his desires or the way he wants to lead his life, then it will reflect in everything, right? Your lifestyle, what you purchase, how do you live, what kind of house do you prefer.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you
Right.
can't say that it's only specific to a particular physical form or something. It's yeah, in and out.
So actually, some whoever is planning such a unit or something, he probably has to prepare his himself first to be prepared to live in that kind of unit and then maintain that unit and probably make a major lifestyle changes to
I
actually
don't think so, Sarab. It's a major
no,
lifestyle change. No,
right.
see, like since generation, people have been living in eco-friendly and earth buildings and all. But so even if a city person wants to live in, we can still make a sustainable design where it is still not so difficult to maintain.
Okay, okay.
So
That is the major issue. Yeah.
yeah, so that is
Hmm.
possible, and that is where I think the challenge and we being at par or taking the indigenous knowledge, but in the modern times we are living in, and then we
Hmm.
provide a solution to the client.
Right. I mean, when you say this, we remember at times in Ladakh when we were
Mhm.
introduced to the Ladakhi toilets, the way they make humanure. And then we also had an introduction where you introduced us to, using the Ladakhi technique, you designed a toilet which is aesthetically, easy to use, comfortable to use. You talk about that because I think there is where you say the connect is you use the old technique in the current form.
Mhm. So you talk about the normal lucky local toilets, right?
Yes, yes, and how you change to a more modern one, but maintained that zero waste of the Ladakhi system.
So talking about Ladakhi waste oil, it's basically a triangle where the waste, the human uh, excreta which is produced is again used. It's allowed to compost and then used in the farms because there's lack of manure which is available in Ladakh.
Right.
So in uh, that cleaner and more managed for for an outsider to use it, and also like the start uh, outside feel that it's a local bit, but once he enters and he understands the use of it, get knowledge about why it's being done, I think they're comfortable. So simple at having covers on the holes on the timbers, having your dry waste just around you to cover up the.
And flush toilets. Yes, of course. The 12 liters goes in every flush. Yeah. So, see, you studied architecture, then you decided to travel around, and you came to Dehradun. You went. So we see a pattern where you actually travel, explore, experience, and there is where the learnings come. Experience is the best teacher. So, what is your take on experiential learning? I mean, it's only through travel did you get across this. How you saw Ladakhi from toilets, even if you would study.
about 10 years in city
Right.
practices, where you understand systems, but the idea for us to travel and experience and making an experiential library of our learnings is what me and Suril
Right.
have been on
Right.
a journey.
Right. Right. Very
So
nice word of
as field
experiential library. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Please. Please.
as field architects, one of the most important thing was for us to experience different parts of India because it is so diverse. Go to different
Yeah.
places, learn, experience, share. You know, it's all both the ways. And then when you provide solutions, you come to some kind of sensitive design or ideas. Because once you're sitting in one place, you get too comfortable, and we feel that we just need to keep getting in out of a comfort zone
Yeah.
to gain more experience and learnings, and then evolve as architects.
Great. Great. So traveling has been one of the major, learnings. Traveling has been a tool which has taught you a lot of things. So that's good to hear because Katpuni
Yeah,
is all about traveling and promoting education through traveling, using nature as a tool.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel it's
coming
very
to
important to travel.
yeah, correct, correct. So coming to various techniques, we hear about sandbag techniques, we hear about Adobe, we hear about rammed earth, and a lot of other techniques. So could you brief us on those techniques? I mean, and which is the best suited for which location?
Okay, so there are like multiple sustainable earth building techniques. Earth bags, yeah, Adobe, which is your sun-dried bricks, not the fire bricks, which is red bricks, which are available. And then you have rammed earth, you have cob. But all the techniques depends upon where you're building, what kind of soil, what kind of availability, what is your local resource, and then how do you apply it. Then considering the climatic conditions of rainfall or just your summers temperatures or winter temperatures, you can decide upon the thickness of the walls. Then whether you need a high plinth if it's a very rainy monsoon area, or whether you need deeper overhangs, or you need a veranda and so that your wall is protected from direct rains. So
Right.
it's all about where you're building, and then you can apply which technique you want. And
Right.
these techniques can be up and down adjusted and applied in a different place, but you then give certain architectural features which protect these walls
Mhm, mhm.
that
Right.
ways.
Right. So that means that every technique is either can be suited for the environment, or basically the environment defines what kind of technique would be used.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like if we go with the environment defining, it's much a better solution, because
Mhm.
then you're actually understanding the local resource and you're coming up with a solution which is suited for that place.
So basically, a lot of study has to go in before you finalize
Yes.
on certain
Yeah.
products or certain technique.
Study of the
So
context and yeah.
yeah, so people like me or anybody, if it's somebody is interested, responsible enough, and he or she plans to start a construction, let's say in Dehradun. So you've already worked in Dehradun. So what
Right.
works here? Like, and what are the conditions here, and what worked for you here? What was the learning for Dehradun per se?
Okay, so we had worked on a project with Studio Mumbai in Dehradun called for textile design. This was a textile factory. So there we had used basically the building material was fire bricks, and we had lime as the mortar instead of cement.
Right.
So in the whole project, I think 95%, 90 to 99%, it's only lime we have used for all kinds of works. Even the wall plaster is earth mixed with lime. So
Right.
lime acts as stabilizer, because sometimes your earth walls or floors require a lot of maintenance yearly, or sometimes quarterly, depending
Right.
upon the use. So instead of cement, we had used lime, but like such in Dehradun, like because there's a very high rainfall and all, you can still
Mhm.
add cement as a stabilizer. You don't have to
Right.
like completely go and build fully cemented structures, because using earth and natural materials, it gives a very nice feel to the house, and it
Mhm.
maintains the temperature within.
Right. Right. So basically, there are okay. Talking about costs now, that is a major factor, deciding factor for a lot of us. I mean, the budget constraint and stuff. And when we compare the costs, I mean, as you say, it will be difficult to compare per se. So let's talk about Dehradun because you've already worked here. So
Mhm.
give a comparison between a normal RCC construction, which is prevalent here, and because a lot of inputs are there, cement, and then the problem of skilled labor probably, and so that is one major factor which goes into budgeting. So comparing the both, I mean, which is more costlier, and because that is a major point of decision making for a lot of people.
Yeah. So one of the things we need to first understand is like if you're building like a multi-storied building, okay, so then obviously you'll go for RCC frame structures,
Right.
right? Because there are multiple stories. But if you're going for ground or ground plus one structures which are load bearing, you can definitely opt for sustainable solutions. It will be a bit higher than your normal RCC frame structures,
Mhm.
but I feel in the long run it just sums up the cost, because your
Mhm.
RCC frame structures also like it is first of all industry driven construction technique. So the labors which have already gotten groomed or used to building, or the contractors, they are already there for it. So coming to something off the regular jargon which is there in the
Yeah, it's a task.
construction,
Yeah, right.
task can it will require, so the client has to be prepared that it is going to be more expensive. But see, if more clients aim for building that, then the price will come down,
Right,
because
right.
labors, because what is happening with normal city like buildings is we are losing, India being such a diverse country, we are losing the skilled labor. The people were trained to build in sustainable ways back in their villages, but now
Right.
because everybody is copy pasting the same thing, it's not only you're losing your construction is not suiting the environment, but you're
Mhm.
losing your main resource, which is your hand skilled labor.
True that. Totally agree because we are copy
Your
pasting from the
wastage,
West.
your generations of
Yeah,
knowledge,
right.
carpenters.
It's going waste.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So the client has to be aware of these things, and I feel so. It's like you go to a showroom and you have you know choice to take certain kind of product, and it depends what is your priority and how do you select.
Right.
So even if it's done
Right.
phase wise, but if you are inclined towards uh, working towards sustainable solutions, then it is fine.
And I think yeah, a lot of costs will also be saved. Recurrent costs like electricity bills, costs for running an AC or a lot of other
Yeah.
stuff. Probably that if you factor these in, so in the long run, you're basically saving a lot of money and you're also impacting the environment. So I mean, in that
Yeah, and
sense,
I feel these the houses which are built in sustainable ways and generally which respond to the surrounding, they age with you as an
right. So
architect.
that was my next question that I was coming
They
to.
just
Yeah.
become much more, the quality of the space and how they interact and all over the years. Like if you go to any historical places or even any village houses, you feel that age of the house, which is very beautiful.
Right.
In a normal RCC
Right.
building, even if you go to the same house after 10 years, 15 years, it's the same kind of finishes. You have to repaint it, and it doesn't age. It's just stagnant. And anyways, so these are certain things. So those are lifestyle changes. And how
Yeah.
do you choose?
Yeah, so beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they
Yeah.
say. So it depends how you see, how you view things. So yeah, but, the other thing which comes up here is the maintenance costs, the kind of efforts which go to maintaining these kind of buildings, and again, once you start the maintenance process, you require skilled labor. So availability of these two, and how do you go about it?
Yeah, so one thing what we can do is like we can work with the techniques available in modern times and what indigenous techniques are, and then come up with solutions which reduces the maintenance of
Right.
the
Yes.
plant,
Okay.
so that the
Okay.
headache of getting scared about you have to keep maintaining it again and again goes away. We can come up with solutions in those directions, and yeah, like more and more people trained, it will be easier to find skilled labor. Like I don't feel like it's such a big deal to maintain
Hmm.
if in the start only you have taken precautions of certain things which are very uh, uh, like direct impact from the climatic conditions, and you have taken care, like if this high rainfall area, then how do you waterproof it, how's your
Right.
roof, how's your foundations, whether you're protected your earthen walls, so those kind of things.
Right. So then comes, there's a saying which we've learned from you when you were in Hyal, and when you were doing this fellowship with you, you were part of the faculty. You talked about good hat and a good boot. Uh, let the audience know about these, please. What do you mean by this? A good hat and a good boot?
So it's basically to protect any building, or like generally you need a from rain or whatever climatic condition, you need a good foundation and a good waterproof roof. So your good
Right.
hat and boot is basically that. So you don't allow any water seepage through your foundation or from the roof. So your walls and your internal spaces are protected.
So viewers from
And these are
Uttarakhand
the main
can
things for any building.
Right. So views can Uttarakhand can feel relaxed if you have good hats and good boots. The basic problems of we have this sealant problem and a lot of things and a lot of rain. So yes, don't worry. We can always avoid
Yeah,
with
there are
some interventions.
termites
Termites is a
problem
big
are
problem.
also there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
major
So
major
those all
problem
things can be solved. Like if you plan your
can be
building in
solved.
such a way and you prevent these kind of things. So before you hit the site, you have taken care on paper of all these things, and then when you go to site, you are completely prepared of what all stages are there.
Right,
So
right.
that will
So a bit of planning, a bit of changes, a bit of, and of course, your expert opinions on this will go a long way in impacting the environment. So right,
yes.
thank you. And so now see, we have been fellows in Ladakh. We've learned about sustainable architecture, and Hari has been in the course also. So
Right.
we were kind of, again, that same thing as you said, traveling is the best teacher. So we experienced this thing. We worked by hand with you. We worked on rammed earth architecture, Adobe. But this is, a very small percentage of our youth is basically, uh, exposed to these kind of solutions. People even don't know about it that these solutions do exist. And even if they know, they have seen their old age home, it's like a status symbol. They want to change that to RCC because people are, demolishing their old mud architecture houses, some Katkuni vernacular architectures, all they have been broken up, and they are now coming, to spanky RCC construction. So how do we sensitize the youth? How do we sensitize? What's your take? Because Katkun is also working on that concept of
Yeah.
edutourism.
So one thing
So
is like
how do you?
taking education tools for the school children, then or for the family also. So you go for tours where you actually educate and you sensitize people about their surroundings and where you're traveling. The other is you go to the villages or places and have programs where the youth is involved and they understand their culture, their heritage, and they learn to value and respect it.
Right. So basically, this indigenous, we have to start bridge this gap. A lot of gap has been created. In these past 200, 300 years, these club factories, the same mentality of getting a job, following the West. But we have forgotten our roots, And I think India, as you rightly said, has a lot to give. I mean, if you have traveled India, you've basically traveled the world. So, Katkuni is one endeavor in that, and we are trying to, bring people, the urban people, connect them with the rural. introducing them to new kind of it's not new basically, it's the indigenous practices which are always prevalent there, but somewhere they were lost, and probably you are also working on the same platform. You are reviving the Ladakhi architecture form, and taking those learnings and creating a hybrid where you're using the current technology like PSH. And I think you've also designed a new concept called prefab. If we can have something on that, something on prefab, what
Yeah,
is that
that is
and how do
basically modular earth building blocks.
right?
And yeah, it's so basically generally earth construction seems to be very intensive and time taking. So you prefabricate. How do you have prefabricated walls? You prefabricate earth building panels, and then which can be assembled on site.
Okay, okay. So it's something like prefab. They have you've coined the word as prefab. So that will reduce the amount of time taken basically to get the construction, right?
Care of certain amount of cost also, because that will
Okay.
your labor cost will reduce.
Great, great. So that's a great innovation. I think you worked upon, and we hope going forward it becomes more of a norm for everybody to adopt. And probably, like we say, traveling. I mean, we can't just pick up people and take them to villages. So probably we can also work on creating experiences around. So this kind of homestays, resorts, or these kind of things can be constructed using these kind of architecture form where people live actually. They get an opportunity to live, experience that kind of thing, and then they probably will appreciate the importance of it. What do you say?
Yeah, yeah. It will be good to have homestays and these kind of platforms where people actually stay there and they experience the building, so that when they go
Right,
back to city, they have knowledge of how things are different at different places.
right. Thank you, Faiza. I think we've had a decent conversation around various architecture forms. We've discussed how sustainability is defined and how do we relate it to architecture. And I think people have been introduced, basic introduction has been given about various architecture forms you're working on. And going forward, we hope that your knowledge, your experience is increased and it is shared amongst the wider audience so that people realize and start making their surroundings more sustainable and responsible. Uh,
Thank you, Sarab and Hari, for yeah. It was really nice talking about things and creating an awareness about construction and architecture.
Thank you, Faiza. We will talk to you more about this. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hari.
Yeah.
Thank you.